Yep, I started.
Okay. I don't know if I should keep that conversation going about.
Totally keep going about how you're frightened of vacuum cleaners.
I'm not frightened of vacuum cleaners. I'm frightened of the loud noise that vacuum cleaners, hair dryers, hand dryers in like public areas, that the noise that they produce, like I don't. That's probably a really inaccurate like representation, but that noise that they procure. Procure is to cultivate something.
Yeah.
Produce. It really just makes me unbelievably uncomfortable, and I don't know why. I say to Ren, I was like, it feels like nails down a chalkboard for me. I don't know. I'm just really weird. It's a thing. Look it up. I don't know what it's called.
So there's somebody out there who's just taking down notes. They're going to write a very specific horror movie.
Yeah, just
incredibly specific.
What's a collation of vacuum cleaner sounds? I'm like a cat. I just don't like noises like that. That's what I am.
Okay.
Anyways.
That's good. That's nice to know.
We should start the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Linda.
I think
hi.
Anybody who's listening probably knows by this point. You know,
I think
probably not going to get any new people this one. For this one.
You know what, Ren? I can make friends in internet world. What?
Internet world.
For those who don't know, I haven't had internet in the past month, and it's killing me a little bit. I moved houses, so forgive me if my head's on backwards today, and I can't somehow.
Can't do anything.
I can't produce proper words because I can't do anything.
You can't check them on Google.
No, exactly. I can't Google them. I can't right click synonyms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
which is why earlier she said, you know, that you know, hair dryers and so on procure a certain scent instead of produce.
Yeah, I'm very tired. I'm very tired and worn out. But anyways, moving on.
Non-internet fatigue.
Yeah, it is called that, okay? Thing. What am I supposed to do at 2 a.m. in the morning?
Sleep.
Sleep is for the weak. To the podcast, Ren.
Yes, to the podcast. So, this week...
We're
talking about John Wick.
Yes.
Probably action movies at large as well.
Yeah, because we...
Because Linda's only really seen the first one. She hasn't seen the second one.
Well, someone got, advanced screening tickets.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
A good friend, not like Linda, a good friend, got advanced screening tickets.
What am I, a duck?
I say advanced, like it's 2 months after the US release, I think.
Advanced in Australia.
Advanced in Australia. I mean,
advanced Australia fair.
If you're from anywhere else but Australia, you can leave. You've probably seen it.
Yeah.
You know, you can not listen if you really want.
They can listen. You can
to
listen,
our
opinions.
Yeah.
Also, what happened was originally, because I wasn't going to see the film, we were going to do 2 Japanese animation films, which is Your Name and A Silent Voice.
And I couldn't get to see them.
And Ren hasn't seen any of them, and he was going to see them, but then I couldn't. I realised that A Silent Voice had just landed in Australia, and we just
wasn't going to be able to get to see it.
It wasn't showing in a lot of cinemas. It was only showing, I think, in like the city, the Hoyts in the city cinema, and that's the only one I really know about. So we're just gonna have to wait for that to come out.
Yeah,
or somehow go.
I mean, we've got plans for the next one already. Next podcast, which will probably be
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Looking at the whole thing.
Because it's film number 5, and I think right now we need to put a stop to this, because it's like that's.
I don't think we can do anything.
No, I don't. We can try.
I was actually, when I went to see John Wick, I was having this conversation with my other friend, my good friend. You know, not like you.
Let's call him John.
Yeah, sure. I'm personal friends with John Wick. Yes.
Yes.
No, he. We're talking about how there's how this film's coming out. It's the 5th one. And it's supposed to be like the last one, and they're already planning a sequel.
This is John Farnham of films, okay?
John Farnham.
Yeah, like he kept retiring.
He keeps coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, this is the last song.
I feel like there's a more global example. We could, the Rolling Stones maybe. They're never going to die.
Yeah, but they were good.
Which is funny because they're related to the film as well.
Oh,
because Keith Richards is in the 3rd and the 4th one as Jack's father.
Oh yeah, he is.
Which is that's the whole reason that he plays Jack Sparrow the way he does. Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He does an imitation.
Exactly. So it's appropriate that he plays the father, isn't it? Yeah. Anyways, we'll talk more about that film series.
Next
time. For now,
we talk John Wick.
Now,
I was a huge fan of the first one.
Mm-hmm. I watched the first one yesterday.
Yeah.
And I liked it. Except for that goddamn part of... Oh, spoilers.
Oh, you really?
Oh, yes.
It's
sorry.
the premise of the whole movie.
Yeah. But freaking how that scene with the dog... The dog,
yeah,
oh
the
my
dog
God.
dies.
Coming from someone who, I'm the type of person that when we're watching a film and, the dog or the animal dies, I'm like, no! And then when, a human dies, I'm like, oh, fucking... He deserved it anyway. It's like, whenever someone... It's like Game of Thrones. Whenever someone dies, I'm like, oh, fucking idiot. They deserved it. And then, the sheep got burnt to, a crisp.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, no, not the sheep. Anyone but the sheep.
The sheep?
The sheep, the lamb, I don't know.
There's a sheep in Game of Thrones?
The one where Khaleesi's dragon burns to a crisp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or the sheep's.
Fine. That's fine.
Yeah. But
there was a child amongst them, but that's
it's child's fault for playing. No, but sorry, I know you know more about the film, but watching it the first time, not many people mentioned a dog, and I saw the dog obviously in the first 2 minutes, and I was like, oh my God, such a cute dog. And I was thinking to myself, while the scene's getting set up, I'm like, what's going to happen to the dog? Because later in the film, he's full blown, wounds everywhere, blood everywhere, gun here, gun there, gun up there. And I kept thinking to myself, what's going to happen to the dog? Does he give the dog to someone else? Does he pass the dog to a family friend? What happens? And then...
That's what sets him off.
The guy kills the fucking dog. I mean... Oh my God, the anger I felt in that moment, I didn't know I could feel that much anger for a cat. I mean, I have in the past, but I did not know I could feel so angry at just a character in a film. I was my partner was with me when we were watching this, and my face, I was like, I want to throw this computer right. I was watching it on my computer. And I was like, I want to throw this computer across the room right now. I'm going to kill someone. I'm going to kill this guy. And I think the best thing about John Wick is that satisfying feeling that he got them. Yes, he killed them, He's he's terrifying assassin and he got them. Yeah.
Well, it's because from a story standpoint, John Wick's not particularly interesting or different. It's a very well done version of any revenge-based action movie. It's Taken.
It's a noir film, yeah.
Like Taken. They stole his daughter. Then he's going to kill everybody until he finds them. And then it happens again.
Except I don't care about that guy's daughter.
I don't care either. I don't think he cares anymore. She keeps getting kidnapped.
Yeah, it's Taken, how many Taken films are there?
3.
Oh, gosh. I mean, just at the third point, you're just dicking around with me, aren't you?
This is the thing I'm worried about. I was worried about going to John Wick 2. Because John Wick 1 is I don't mind the first Taken. It's not. Yeah. It's not that bad. It's all right.
It's original, kind of.
Not really. It's not original, but it was at the time I think it was different enough that people went, okay, I can get behind this. It's simple.
We'll pay money for this.
Yeah, but the John Wick one is he's lost his wife. He got out of some sort of shadowy organisation that isn't really specified exactly what it is, and then he gets a dog from his wife. His wife did this thing where the dog would turn up. Little puppy, and he got that, and it's okay, he's got something to look after.
Yeah, and he kind of bonds with it as well.
Yeah, he bonds with it, and then Russian guy, young Russian guy, son of big Russian
organization, mafia. Yeah.
Mafia dude, not mafia. It's not the mafia. It's the Russian mafia.
Crime syndicate.
Whatever. Steals his car. Wants to steal his car and kills his dog during the robbery.
I feel like if the guy had just stolen the car.
Yeah, he'd probably be okay. And they make it kind of clear that was if it was just the car, he'd probably just get it back off the mechanic.
Yeah. But no, it's the dog. I think it's this...
The dog was too far. And the thing I love about it, it's they set him up as he's the best killer ever.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did you do this? Yeah. Even the father's hitting him, slapping around. Why did you do this?
Fucking idiot. And then, I raised you better. That's Italian. Sorry. I don't know why I thought
the second film. The second film's for the Italians.
Yeah, sorry.
No, but yeah, the way they did it was good, and it had a bit of humour in there to give you that. And I mean, even the overblown stories about what he did to people.
Yeah.
He once killed a man with a pencil. all this sort of stuff. Or
He
three
wants
men.
to-
or
three
something
men.
like
I saw him kill 3 men with a pencil.
pencil, you know.
A pencil. He's like hitting his son. He's like, a pencil, I say. No, I completely agree. I just think I was watching this film and I'm thinking like that part where he's holding the dog and it's dead at the very end, he's crying, and like the start of the film sets you up that you invest yourself so much emotionally with this dog and this guy, and you think it's going to be this story about how he gets over his wife. And that's what I thought. I thought it was the fact that I didn't know he was obviously an assassin. I literally I started watching this film with no expectations.
Yeah, she didn't know anything. Which is surprising.
Yeah, I know.
I thought that this film was like better known than it is, but maybe it isn't.
It's just me. I'm like,
Maybe.
I watch Japanese animation films. Like, come on, look at me. But I just walked in no expectations. I was like, I know this is a good film, and I obviously from what you've told me, and so I got so literally the first 5 minutes, I was so emotionally invested in this dog called Daisy. I will never forget her name. And John Wick, and I'm thinking to myself, what's probably going to happen is he's going to get like all stuck up in his past, and he's going to try and run away, and blah, blah, blah. He's trying to get away from the past, when in reality the film's about him.
He just goes back in.
He just goes back in, he jumps in because he's out for revenge, he's out for blood. And that scene when he's holding the little dog and and it's dead, and he's like about to cry, obviously, and you've seen him cry a few times with regards to his wife and his wife passing away, and you think he's this really nice, tender guy, and he's holding, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my god, and I'm thinking, oh no, he's now going to get his heart broken. He's just going to do nothing. You think he's not going to do anything about it, and he's just holding it. And I think it's like this, as cliche as this has the symbolism of like this part of him is dying now, and he's got to have to go back to that
it was like
other
a bit of his
side.
wife.
Yeah, that last bit of
Yeah.
pureness. I don't know, but obviously his wife brought out the better part of him, and that part now is officially just dead.
Yeah.
Like they just killed, like metaphorically and physically killed it. And like the transformation of him just being like, really sad and mopey, to him being like, you know what, I want to fuck some people up right now. I'm gonna fuck them up right now. I was like, it was just I was so angry. I was angry for him.
That's like the reason why I think the reason why the second film is so anticipated is because the first film did a lot of things differently, or at least it did things that action films used to do that they sort of stopped doing. Like you see an example of like the formula going wrong in Taken, like Taken 2 and 3. There's an edit every millisecond, and you don't know what's going on. Yeah, because they've obviously got Liam Neeson doing things, and he can't do the things that they need him to do. So
stunt double.
But a bit like Tom Cruise kind of is, you got Keanu Reeves, who's known for doing a lot of his own stuff. Yeah. Probably not everything. Definitely not everything. But he can do a great deal of it, especially like the gun handling stuff in the film. So the thing that set it apart is that the camera's like set back, it's wider, you can see everything, and they don't cut too often. No. And things are actually unfolding in front of you.
And things are, I was just saying, like, the choreography is really organised to
it's really tight.
It's so, like, I was saying, it was like very, shing. I don't want to use the word fleeked, but it would be the equivalent of fleeked eyebrows, kind of like everything is so precisely done. Yeah. Every movement, there's no wastage in movement. Everything he does is, like, perfect.
Well, it's like, with, like Taken, it's like he's really good at this thing. He's like a special agent thing. He had this past, and then it's like he gets into it, and it looks like he's kind of almost fumbling his way. Yeah. Like he gets hit a lot, and he gets shot a couple of times, and it makes you go, "Is this guy superhuman?" Like, and then you completely are knocked out by, like, he does things over the top that people just can't do, and then like, at the same time he doesn't look like he's really in control all the time, whereas they set John Wick up as being like the ultimate badass, and then he acts exactly like it in the fight. Like, he's never like really out of control. Yeah,
but I think it's really funny because as I was watching all the fight scenes, and obviously like he gets hit a few times, he gets hurt a few times. So I think I was saying to my partner as I was watching, I'm like, it makes sense. Like, he's not perfect, obviously, because he hasn't done this for like 4 years in the film. So I'm like, I like how obviously muscle memory, he remembers most of the things, but there's still moments where he obviously. He's not badass enough that he's superhuman, that you're thinking this is literally impossible. but at the same time, you're like, oh my god, he's fucking terrifying. Like, I would not want to be in a
You
room
wouldn't
with
want to
him.
cross him.
Yeah, like he's a very nice guy.
Until he starts killing people.
But don't fuck around with his dog. Like, on that moment where he's like, oh, I fucked up his dog. And then the guy just, like, smacks him across the face. He's like, get the fuck out.
But yeah, that's what really set it apart. And I think it's like some people have called that at the moment we're starting to see a action film renaissance. Because you get, like, some of the bigger budget stuff, like Kingsman, I would say, is a part of that in a sense. Probably not as much, but it's that's more for the broader crowd, but it's not necessarily just for action people who like action films. There's more to it than that. But John Wick's just an action movie, and it's just a purely. It really hits the nail on the head, and I'd say that with The Raid from Indonesia, which I don't think you've seen yet.
No, I haven't seen it.
That's great as well. Yeah. Both films are good in different ways. You can
see, at this point, you can see what films we like and what films we...
I don't mind a good action film.
You like action films, and I'm more of a, like, animation, everyday life kind of... I'm going to get judged so hard for this, but I love rom-coms.
Yeah, I know. You know.
And
that was predictable.
I mean, but, like, I used to not like rom-coms, and I used to badger my partner about it, because he loves rom-coms. It's really weird, but he loves rom-coms. And then at one point, I was watching. We were watching all these films like in class, back in cinema class, and I one day I was like, you know what? I really like rom-coms. I genuinely like rom-coms. Oh my god, who am I?
Oh, there's a few I like, but it's not like a genre that I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great genre. No.
I like it if it's actually funny though. If it actually plays on humor. Like, I hate it when they say I'm a rom-com, and then in reality it's just a lot of people having sex and them falling in love. It's stupid. But I really enjoyed this is really old, but Love Actually is obviously one of my favorites.
Everybody likes it.
And I think this one's called For a Good Time, or
I've never heard of it.
It's not a very, very well-known film, but it talks about these two girls who set up like a sex phone line, and it's genuinely quite funny, and it doesn't talk about love or like it talks about just these two girls having a very weirdly sexual but also at the same time platonic relationship, like a sisterhood, but like more than a sister. I don't know how to explain it. It's really funny. It's a really good film. It makes at certain parts you're gonna be like, this fucking makes no fucking sense at all. And this would never work out in real life, but it's one of those movies you watch it. Yeah, it's a movie. That's pretty much it. Anyways, we
back to the quality.
So hey, I haven't seen John Wick 2, so you can talk about this a bit more.
Well, yeah. So John Wick 2 is a very different film in my opinion than the first one. It's not as clean cut, and obviously there's not as much emotion going into it because it's sort of all been sorted out in the first film. Second film does start with him kind of tying up the only loose end, which was where was his car. Yeah. So he goes to find his car, and it's with the uncle of main bad dickhead.
Viggo.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I can't remember like anybody's name apart from John Wick in the movies.
But like, John Wick's the only name that really is mentioned.
Well, it's a very normal sounding name. Everybody else's. But anyway, it's basically him. It's Peter Stormare is the brother who, you know, he's always hilarious on screen. But I think that the difference is, I said to a friend that I saw it with, that's okay. I said it to the friend that I saw it with, like, John Wick 2 feels like a victory lap. Yeah. Like they were, because I know I watched a couple of interviews with, how would you call it? Chaz Stahelski and David Leitch, who directed John Wick 1. And they were basically talking about, like, they obviously had an idea of what they wanted for the first one, but there were, like, some things that just kind of worked out as well. Yeah. And they were, like, things they actually pointed out, and I think this was actually, on Honest Trailers, Screen Junkies or whatever it was, that I was watching this. They had the interview, and there's, like, a bit in the first one where John gets tied up on the chair near the end of the film, and Willem Dafoe fires a bullet into the church and kills the guy behind him. Yeah. And I think it was Chazelsky basically goes, he shot through a stained glass window and got a perfect headshot. It's like, I don't know how he saw him. Stained glass window, you can't.
I know.
Basically can't
He's that good.
Yeah, he's that good. But it's like, he pointed out a couple of things like, we just did that because...
just because fuck you.
Like, nobody noticed, really.
Yeah.
And it's not that important.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, the second one feels like they're having a lot more fun with it.
Yeah.
And
a bit less, like...
It's a bit...
rigid.
To me, it was quite funny, like,
Yeah.
comically. But the action doesn't feel quite as...
As sleek?
Not quite as sleek as...
The first one.
It feels like they do a lot of the same thing a lot of the time.
Okay.
Like, John will grab somebody, shoot somebody else, flip this guy over, shoot a couple of other guys, and then shoot this guy in the head.
Yeah.
I think they do that like 6 times in the movie.
Okay, yeah.
But it's not as obvious in the first one.
Yeah.
The first one, he does a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And they're very specific and constrained.
I think
fight
it's always like,
shooting scenes.
the first film, you're always going to be everything's going to be super
That's
rigid,
true as well.
clean. And then the second film's like, oh, well, we already know what people like, already know kind of, and they're just a bit less like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, like, and the thing I said of it all is like what I was worried about with Taken. They haven't adopted, like, they haven't started cutting it more or anything like that. It also should be said that this film is just made by Chad Stahelski, and David Leitch isn't a director as well.
okay.
He's a producer on this. David Leitch is the director of Atomic Blonde, which is coming out, which we'll definitely have a look at.
Yeah.
Because that looks pretty good too.
One day.
That looks pretty awesome. And he's making Deadpool 2.
We are excited for Deadpool 2.
Yes, I'd be excited for Deadpool 2.
Oh,
But
none of the good sorry. So I was going to say, none of the good films are out yet. I want Deadpool 2. I want Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't know how I feel about Spider-Man Homecoming, but I want Golden Circle. I want all those things, but I can't have them.
Not yet.
Because it's the middle of May. And all I have to work with is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, Dunkirk will be out soon. And I want to see that.
You want to see that? Okay, we'll go see that.
But anyway, so yeah, with this film, then the thing I just mentioned about like Liam Neeson's character in Taken is he becomes a bit too superhuman.
Yeah.
And there are moments in John Wick 2 where it's like, I'm going, that's a bit too much.
Yeah.
Like, he's not that good.
Yeah.
And it's not so much like he does something really awesome. It's like he gets hit by a car, like, cars like 3 or 4 times. I feel like it's 3 or 4 times. It's probably not that many, but it felt like enough that I was going,
no way.
Driving a car into him doesn't seem to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, he just seems to, like, get up and he's, like, kind of hurt, but he's all right. And then he fights his way out.
Yeah, he's Batman, the peak of physical... Yeah. I mean, after 4 years in a relationship, it's fine. Peak of physical condition. Like, he hasn't shot a gun in, like, 3, but it's fine.
There's also a lot of, like, a lot more suspension of disbelief in this film in terms of, like, what people notice and don't notice. There's a whole chase sequence. Like, the premise of the film is... John gets his car back. He goes back home to sort of like live normally, and then an Italian mafia guy who runs a Camorra arrives at his house and basically has this marker, which is this like silver thing. You open it up and it's got John's bloody fingerprint inside because he made a blood oath, because that's how he got out of the whole organisation in the first place with his help. Yeah, that if this guy called on a favour for him, he had to do it, and he refuses. And, obviously in the organisation there are rules. It's like he refuses, so John has to die. So
John Tucker must die.
So he burns down John's house. The dog is okay this time.
Okay, good.
The new dog is okay. And then it's like, okay, he's got to go and do what he wants, which is to kill his sister.
So why... Can I just say, if that was the case, why would he wait all the way till his house was burned down to be like, oh, fine, I'll do it now? I mean, like, wouldn't it have made more sense if he was like, okay, I'll go do it, and then not have his house burnt down?
That's the big problem with the second one, is that the plot is just so that we can have action sequences, really. Like, I think
there's not enough... You were telling me there's not enough propulsion.
There's not enough propelling him forward in this film.
Because, like, obviously the first one was a revenge film. It was like
the first one was like, it's really personal, and this one it's like,
I guess I'll do this now.
I guess I'll do this. Like,
I guess I'm John Wick.
Yeah, I guess I'm the Boogeyman.
I guess I'm murder.
I guess I'm gonna have to kill people again.
Yeah.
Like, then there's some other things, like they obviously wanted to have some sort of cool henchman, so they had like Common as one, and he's the bodyguard of the sister. Yeah. And so he's after John for most of the film after he kills his sister. Yeah. And then you've got Ruby Rose's character, who is the bodyguard of the Italian guy. Yeah. And she doesn't speak. Which was confusing because I don't know whether she's mute or whether she's deaf or both. She only speaks in she only speaks in like hand gestures and so on, and it's always like supposed to be threatening or whatever like that. And it's not that
She,
she's... Yeah, pretty much. But there was like a scene...
What is this?
There's like a scene that one of my friend pointed out, and he goes, there's a scene where she answered the phone, like, to get orders.
Like, hello? Or...
No, she didn't say anything. She just
just
opens it up and she gets the orders, I think. And he was like, so she can hear them? But how do they know that she got the orders? Like,
Maybe
she
it vibrates.
She just hand signals back at the phone. Like, it was... Yeah.
Wait, what? So she's answering a phone call and she's gesturing with her hands?
No. We just... All you see in the film is she opens the phone, she gets the orders, and then, like, cut, I think.
Oh, so she can hear.
Yeah. So she's mute, I
Maybe-
assume. She can't speak.
Maybe she's just traumatized. That she can't... Like, that happens to people.
But anyway, the action sequences feel a bit rougher around the edges.
Not as...
But they also
not as polished.
play for laughs a bit more.
Okay. So I think...
There's a whole
Yeah.
chase scene in Rome, which actually it starts off with a pretty good like montage of him getting ready, basically for battle. Like he goes to the tailor and gets like a tailored suit
yeah.
for like evening wear, but it's like got Kevlar, like
yeah.
really thin Kevlar
Right.
armor, like sewn into it and everything.
Okay.
And he
I
goes
don't
to
know
the.
where he finds these people to sew Kevlar into a
That's the whole
suit.
thing. It's like. Also, the organisation is much bigger in this film. It's like a big deal. They show you all the things, like, they've got tailors, they've got this, they've got this.
This is more of just a complimentary film to the first
Well, that's
film.
the whole thing as well. I don't think they could have gotten away with all the stuff they put in if they were doing it super seriously.
Yeah.
It would have come off silly.
Yeah.
And because they kind of go a bit more comedic.
Yeah. So this is a
it
bit of
kinda
an
works a
adjustment.
bit
You tone this part down, turn this
Yeah.
part up kind of situation.
Yeah. There's definitely going to be a number 3.
I don't know how I feel about number 3 now. Now that you've
We've got to see number 2.
Yeah, well, that's true. I've got to see number 2.
But the sort of some of the more funny moments are like, or like the moments where you sort of go, okay, I don't know exactly. But there's a scene where it eventually gets, and it's kind of a spoiler, but it gets to the point where there's a contract out on John Wick, and there's like every single hitman that you can imagine in New York is after him.
Yeah.
And it's like everything from like a massive Chinese guy who looks like a sumo wrestler trying to kill him to a woman with a violin. So one of the things is he gets shot by her, I think, and he's like injured.
Yeah.
He's injured for pretty much the rest of the film. But nobody ever like
Takes the bullet out?
nobody either takes the bullet out or does anything to him to like fix the
Yeah.
thing.
Just walks around with a hole in his side.
Pretty much, like I was going, okay, has he just been bleeding this whole time? And I mean, that's a little thing.
Yeah.
Then there's stuff like there's a whole chase with Common
Yeah.
around that time where it ends up in the train station, and there's some funny moments like I was mentioning to you before. John's on a lower level of the train station, Common's on a higher one,
Yeah.
and they're shooting at each other with silenced pistols. There's people everywhere, but nobody notices. Like they're not holding it out. They're like got the gun across their chest. They're hiding the gun. They're shooting at each other every chance they get, and they miss every shot.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the
It's
train.
like an interesting watch, kind of like, oh yeah, okay, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, and then there's the actual. They get to the platform.
Yeah.
And people start getting onto the train.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 guys like right at the back, and John just pulls out his gun and he shoots these 2 guys.
Yeah.
And he has like a struggle with one of them, and he stabs the guy.
Yeah.
And nobody seems to notice that John does that. Like, there's nobody around after the train. When
Yeah,
people
but
get
no
on the
one's
train.
like, oh my effing god.
Nobody's like, oh my god,
yeah.
this is happening.
Yeah.
It's just, it kind of happens, and it's like, okay, well, did nobody see that?
Yeah.
And then as well, another thing I noticed, and I'm not quite sure as well, it's like the train arrives, and Common and him are on opposite platforms looking at each other, and the train comes in between.
Yeah.
And then they both get on the train, and I went, does a train arrive at 2 platforms at the same time?
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, I don't know whether it's different there. Yeah, that seems a bit weird to me.
I don't know either. I've never been to Rome or where.
I think that part's in New York.
Yeah,
from what
I've
I
never
remember.
been to New York, so
No,
there we
never
go. But that's really weird. Why would you have...
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was wondering what was happening then. I went, they both got on the train from separate platforms.
Because
looking at each other.
assassins.
Because it looks cool.
Yeah.
Because it is cool. And
Yeah.
then most of the people on the train leave, and they have kind of a knife fight. And there's still people left, and they kind of like move back.
They're like, oh, no.
And then they did a pretty good gag. It's like the end, that was common in like the chest. It basically goes, I've shoved it into your aorta or something like
Yeah.
that. If you pull it out, you'll bleed to death. They're basically saying, don't pull it out, get some health. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
as soon as the train stops, the doors open, everybody just runs out. That's kind of that worked.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of funny.
No, I understand. That stuff I understand. I think, but like, I think I agree with you. From what I've heard of, I've never seen the film. I haven't seen the film yet. It does seem like one of those, the first one was really great. We're just making a second one now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's going to be good, but not as good.
I think it's because like lots of I don't even know because it's always the things like these original films that come out like the ones that aren't based on anything else. It's like the first one is like this was all they planned to make.
Yeah.
And it's like people really loved it and it took off and it's like they want another one and you're like, okay.
Again.
What do I do now?
It's like every Disney sequel ever made, isn't it? It's like the first one, we're just going to make this based on this fairy tale. Everyone loved it. Let's make a second one, but like put like half them. Well, maybe not every Disney film, but like obviously I'm not sure if people watch Disney sequels that often. The quality is just horrible.
I think it's just generally with sequels.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's like we never expected to make anything. I think it's pretty evident in Star Wars as well.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
Never expected anything else.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Like the film, people probably made it just being like, we want to just make this one really good
and they did the first time.
Action film, about this guy. It's like simple plot, but really good. Like it's kind of like really good, sequences and all that.
I'm criticizing it a lot, but I did like it. It's not like it's not bad at all.
No, exactly.
I mean, the stuff is really well done, but it is definitely more humorous
it's not as
this
nice,
time. It's not as good as the first one.
Yeah, well, we were talking about Guardians last fortnight, and we were saying like a lot of films after the first film is done, if the first film takes off, the second film sometimes loses that shiny quality that they get in the first film.
I have to say, like I kind of like Guardians 2 more than 1.
Yeah, really?
I think that I've actually thought about it. I think I like the second one more.
I think they're both on equal standard. I think they both just talk about different things. And it's like the same as Captain America 1 and 2.
Yeah. 2 for me is way better than 1.
Obviously 2 is better for you, but the way I look at it is like there's 2 different types of stories being told. Yeah. It's like it's like the equivalent of if you were to compare like I don't know. I think thinking about John Wick 1 and 2 is like comparing. This isn't a good film, just comparing, but like 22 Jump Street or 21 Jump Street, like
they're okay.
They're okay. I mean, but they're essentially like the same film, just repeated.
Yeah, pretty much. I bet that's like all sequels, pretty much.
Exactly.
It's like Terminator 1 is about a robot that comes to help a woman survive from another Terminator. No, it's about a guy saving a woman from a Terminator who comes from the future. And then the second one is about a Terminator who comes from the future to save a kid from another Terminator from the future. And it's like, well, same premise.
Yeah. No,
although the second one is considered better.
Yeah, true. Well,
although I kind of prefer the first one.
I think it's just about what you prefer. Like
it's some of it, it's personal preference.
Some people might like John Wick 2 better because they think, I like the fact that it was funny. I like the
bigger scale as well.
Yeah, obviously more money.
Yeah, of course.
It had built up a following.
I believe the second one was $40 million. The budget. The first one was 25.
Yeah, so I guess like there's always like it depends on what you like because I'm the type of person who's like I love origin stories and like that's why I'm like I actually do kind of like Captain America the first film a bit not like I don't like it more.
It's actually funny because I like the origin story part of the film.
Yeah,
I just don't like the second half where it goes to the war and I find it gets boring after that point.
I think it's boring, but I understand what you mean. Like it's not a lot of.
It's just like bang bang bang.
Yeah, but
lots of stuff after that.
I kind of liked it because I liked the fact that it showed him before he was the superhero. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I do like Winter Soldier, and I think we should stop talking about Marvel for another minute. But like I think it just depends on what you like. Because if you like that obviously I think you like that more structured kind of.
I don't know. I think I think with Captain America, I just like the type of movie they were making the second time around because it's a different type of movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like that's why you couldn't.
It was a spy movie the second time.
It's
around.
a bit unfair to compare the two, but I know what you mean. If Captain America 2 was a film on its own. Not that it isn't, but like I really like Captain America 2. But comparing the first and second for me, I like the first because I just like that type of genre of like the way it was set out. And, I don't know.
But as far as John Wick 2 goes, it's still really good. It's still miles better than most action films I've seen.
Exactly. I mean, action films are getting so like because there's a lot of stunt work that obviously goes into action films.
Yeah, of course.
And when you get people to do stunt work for you, then you have to like cut certain things, edit certain things. And
Well, it depends on if you're using the actor who's may or may not be trained, and and I think the one thing I do really like about Keanu Reeves really is just the fact that he really throws himself into it, and you can tell that most of the time it's him.
Yeah, exactly. But like we were talking, I'm not sure. I don't want to go back to Marvel.
Well, it's like one thing as well. I noticed I've watched a bunch of things, but it's like the some of the best action films these days tend to be made not for cinemas.
That's true.
But I mean, like they like straight to DVD movies, and I mean, like they're not necessarily great films from a plot standpoint, but their action is incredibly good. Like they're very solid from an action standpoint because they don't really care about the acting as much, and they're basically casting the stunt people as the actors, or they have like stunt actors, kind of action actor types.
Yeah, I think that's when that's when like all that small things come in, like the idea of you want good actors. Yeah. But you want, like, for an action film, you want that really good stunt work. And then you're like... With
an action film, you have to wonder, like, which is more important, the story or the spectacle. Yeah. And if the spectacle is more important, then I think they know what they're doing. Yeah. Like, I think John Wick's also, like, it's not a direct-to-video movie. It's got a much higher budget than that sort of thing. Yeah. Even the first one. Yeah. And they did have the luxury of having a few good actors in there who knew what they were doing. And the second one, they've got a few more. Lawrence Fishburne turns up as like... that was one of the weirdest parts of the movie as well. The organisation is so over the top, and that's why they played it for laughs, because it would seem stupid in a serious movie. But John's running away from two guys who are like dressed as cleaners in the train station in the second film. And he goes up to like a hobo who's just like talking and all sort of stuff, and he gives him one of the gold coins, puts it into his thing, and just goes, "I need to meet with him." And then he lies down in like the guy's stuff and like covers himself. And the guy just covers him up like really quickly, like he knows exactly what he's talking about. And the two cleaner guys like come up and basically almost like looking for him. And then the hobo pulls out a silenced pistol and shoots them both in the head. And I went, huh?
It's like, okay.
This organisation is everywhere. They've got bums and everything. And then it's like, Lawrence Fishburne's like the homeless man guy who's got like carrier pigeons and everything. And
is this like Sherlock Holmes in the homeless system?
I mean, it's funny because I kept making jokes to my friend about The Matrix, because Lawrence Fishburne is Morpheus in The Matrix and Keanu Reeves is Neo, and it's just
it's too like, oh hey.
I know. I mean, it's obvious that they were doing that on purpose. Like, and like,
you talking about like people obviously work like pairings in films makes me think about like I haven't seen this film. All I know, as I just know about it, is I've seen Fault in Our Stars. Yeah, the book, the film based on the John Green book.
Shailene Woodley and that other guy.
Yeah, I don't know what his name is, Ansel, whatever. Yeah. That they played like a couple in Fault in Our Stars.
In that terrible
Insurgents film as brother and sister, and I'm just like, oh, but
well, the one that I think of now, modern day, is Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling.
Oh yes,
yeah, they're in. What is it, like 3 movies together?
Yeah. Well, they're pretty good. They've got chemistry.
They've got pretty good.
But you talking about, like, on top of all of that as well, like in my personal life, I had a friend, and she was she sang and she performed and all that, and her brother was the same. So they played.
Oh, so they got into like musical plays where they play each other's lovers.
Yeah. It was weird.
Gross.
It got so weird. They had to perform once in front of like a whole audience, and they were performing this opera, and he was the husband and she was the wife.
Oh dear.
Oh, gosh. And like, the thing is, if you're just someone spectating, you'll be like, oh yeah, okay, cool.
But anybody who knows them,
anyone knows it's like, this is fucking weird. Creepy. This is creepy as shit. Oh my god. Yeah, but I see. Who else have I been seeing together in films since we're talking about this as well? Because I'm thinking. I don't know.
But yeah, John Wick 2, it's kind of like more of the things that you liked. Yeah. But more sort of comic and
just chilled. More chilled, like not as...
Yeah. I mean, it's bigger. And I think that the last sort of big sequence, which takes place in like a hall of mirrors, is really well done. I really like that. That was a lot of fun. No, it was really cool, but... Yeah.
I wouldn't know because I haven't watched it. Yeah, I'm so salty.
It's good. But yeah. But But yeah, I think, there'll be better action films coming as well. And I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with John Wick 3. I think it'll be the least of the three as well. Like, I don't think it'll get better from here.
I don't think it can, because sometimes it peaks.
Yeah.
Like, I like to think that films do peak, and then after that, it's like, same with TV shows, though. TV shows, films, games. After a certain amount, freaking hell, they're making another Cars film. I'm just like, I don't even know. I never even watched the first one, and I'm just like, okay, you're making another one.
I've seen them both.
They're good?
First one's alright.
Second
one's kind of...
Yeah, what about Shrek?
Oh.
How many is there?
Are they making another one?
No, I hope not. I think they're making another Ice Age, though.
No, of course they are.
Because milking that cow, because it ain't dead yet.
God, that's like the Fast and the Furious of
the
animated...
Fate of the Furious. Oh my God. I'm like, I swear to God, if they... Apparently, the new Fast and Furious, or the Fate of the Furious. Such a cringe.
Making another one too.
Are they actually?
Yeah,
What's
number 9.
Is this going to be like Saw? How many Saw films are there?
There was 6?
No, there was way more.
7. 7, I think.
Really?
I think there were 7.
Oh my God, maybe Fast and Furious is going for like the world record for most sequels made to a film.
Oh, they'd have to do more than James Bond.
But I guess James Bond, they have different actors. This is like just...
Yeah, but they're all part of the same franchise. But I suppose they're not technically sequels.
Yeah, they're all just kind of...
different stories around the character.
Yeah. They're like
and
one-shots.
most of them are terrible.
There's a couple. Die Another Day. I watched that.
That one's terrible. That was like...
You know what? That was that one film they always played on Channel 7 when I was a kid, and I always used to watch it.
That's bad.
With Halle Berry.
That's really bad. That is one of the worst.
Really?
Oh, it's really bad.
Really?
Some of the ones some of the Roger Moore ones are better than that one, for God's sake.
Really?
It's just
it was the only one I could watch because it was the only one that was free on television with all the ads.
I mean, the James Bond films, you could probably easily go your whole life without watching one and you'd be okay.
I didn't enjoy Casino Royale.
I do like I say I like the Craig ones. I like 2 of them.
Casino Royale, I don't know how I feel about Skyfall.
I like Casino Royale and Skyfall. I don't like Quantum of Solace or Spectre.
You were saying how
terrible.
By the end of it all, he just pretty much was like, "Oh, I'm just doing this for the money."
In Spectre, he looked like he did not give a shit.
Yeah, well, he said he didn't want to play that role ever again because he just didn't.
He's probably going to.
I don't know.
I think we mentioned that last time as well.
Do you know what? I know. I feel like I always talk about the same things, but I was watching War Horse.
Mm-hmm.
The film about a horse.
Spielberg movie.
Yeah, he's Spielberg, isn't it?
Yeah,
Spielberg.
It's based on the stage thing.
Yeah, the stage play.
Yeah.
Look, I enjoyed the film. Any film with an animal in it, I'm like,
seen it.
I mean, it's not amazing.
I've really gone off Spielberg, I should say.
I know.
I don't think he's made anything really worth watching for a while.
Yeah. Well, it's like a typical. Oh, it's really pretty. Like the scenes are really nicely shot, but
he always knows how to make a film look good and like play well. But
Yeah.
like most of his films now, I'm like, okay, that was fine.
yeah,
It wasn't bad.
No, exactly.
Just wasn't that amazing.
I watched it because, like, obviously, horse.
Yeah,
and
it's a horse.
animals and like
Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston. Better shut up. No, but like obviously I was how old was I? I was pretty young when I watched it, and
It wasn't that long ago.
I mean,
It's like 4 years ago.
yeah, I was pretty young, man. I'm
Oh, yeah.
18. I was a teen. I was a kid. I was a baby when I was
Sure.
18. Yeah. Just because you're an old man.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry. No shade. No, but like apparently, both Tom Hiddleston. I'm not sure about Benedict Cumberbatch. I know for a fact that Tom Hiddleston did his own he was only on
Horse
screen.
riding?
Yeah, his own horse riding, which was like back then. I was like, what?
What a boast.
What? But now I'm just like, okay, well, anyone can ride a horse. But it was pretty okay. Well,
Not anybody, but
most people can
but,
learn.
Tom Hiddleston can't do his own stunts. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's about it.
Just that one scene in The Night Manager where he's in the kitchen and he has to beat up that guy.
Yeah.
And I went, oh dear God, they're actually considering him for Bond.
Yeah.
And I went, nah, I hope they don't. And then it turns out they're not, which is good.
Yeah.
They went, nah, not happening, guys.
Yeah, I just stopped watching The Night Manager after a point because I'm just like, the story's good, but
I finished it.
I didn't finish it.
It's based on John le Carré novel, and he's, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, A lot of
I know.
good spy novels.
It's just hard because, like, for me, the character is everything, you know? And I'm just like...
His character's always very, you know, they're cold and they're kind of mysterious. And...
It's like... Oh, he's always got that, like, that face on where it's like, what can I help you with? I don't know. It's like half angry, half happy. It's really weird.
I was like, that was my biggest problem with that, is his performance.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I was supposed to think about him. I'm like,
Well,
what's
that's the
he
thing.
doing?
Like, I'm someone like... I've said this once and I've said this 1,000 times. I get very, very invested into the characters, into the people, into the story, which is why I can't watch television shows, or most television shows, because if I have to watch the first episode, I have to watch the whole season in one night.
Don't we have trouble with Game of Thrones,
Yeah,
though?
yeah, it is. Like,
Because
literally,
you get
like...
too invested in the characters, and then 2 seasons down the road, they're not in the show anymore. Because they
Not
died a
even that,
brutal,
but
horrible
like,
death.
because every time I watch something, I have to think about it, I have to analyze it, and it's very emotional. Like, certain shows, you like, you know, like fluffy shows like Simpsons and stuff, you don't have to think too much about it. You watch it and you're like, oh, whatever. Shows like that I can watch because I'm like, I don't have to think too much about it. But then stuff like Game of Thrones and like stuff just like that's so like freaking deep, and there's so much political stuff going on. I'm just like, I need to step back and think about what I'm doing with my life.
I think it happens with everybody. It's like if you watch like a couple of episodes of Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad or Mad Men or whatever like that, you're just like, okay, that's enough of that for today.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it's like I burnt through The Office really quickly because it's not hard to watch.
Yeah, it's fluffy.
And they're like, oh, also the episodes are 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think the reason why I enjoy John Wick was because, like, although, like, you know, it's a revenge story and all that, it's just, it's very, there's not a lot of, not saying there's not a lot of depth to it, but in story-wise, like, I'm just like, it's a guy out for revenge. And I'm like, I watched it and I was satisfied, and like the most loose ends were tied up, and I'm like, I can go to bed now. I can go to bed and not have to think about the next thing John Wick's going to do in the next film.
Yep.
You know? Whereas like if I watched Game of Thrones, I'd watch like
it's also like it's a movie and a TV show.
Yeah,
different things. Like a movie should be a thing that happens and then that's it.
There has been movies where I've watched it and afterwards I like sat up in bed and I was like looking up at the ceiling and I'm like, I can't sleep right now. I've got to do something else. I've got to read more. I'll do this thing where I'll finish watching a film and then I'll Wikipedia it.
Well, it's like what I've done. Okay, so I've started watching American Gods.
Yeah.
Which is the first 3 episodes have come out and I watched all 3 of them, and I was like, I kind of get what's happening, but sort of don't at the same time because I'm not completely familiar with. Like, I know it's based on a Neil Gaiman novel, so I went out and I bought the novel. And I was like, right, I'm gonna read this first before I watch the show.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I have to Wikipedia it. I have to. If it's based on a book, I have to find out if the book and this has any difference. Like, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Yeah, we haven't done that here, but I did write a blog post about it, and literally after I finished watching that film, I looked up the book. I looked up what the book was, the difference between the film and the book, because that film at the very end, it didn't do. I mean,
didn't do anything for you.
No, as in the ending didn't tie up anything. It was kind of very.
I doubt that's getting a sequel as well.
Yeah, well, it's kind of shit. Sorry Tim Burton. We've said this. Tim Burton just puts a filter on everything he touches.
He just kind of vomits out a film every
It's like,
year.
oh, I need money.
It looks like my sort of movie.
Yeah. Look, there are parts in it that I enjoyed. Really, like, genuinely, I was like, oh yeah, no, I enjoy this. And then the very end, I'm just left in this moment of this doesn't make sense and this doesn't make, and it's like, you know, small things people can get away with, like in John Wick, small things like the stained glass window. It's fine. Yeah, move on with my life.
The whole plot doesn't hinge off that.
Yeah, this is like him full blown kind of going, "Fuck you, time. You don't make sense, and I'm going to play off the fact that you don't make sense." And so you're left standing there thinking, "Wait, how does this work?" Because you said this.
So it just ends up becoming nonsense. It doesn't mean anything.
It does, because they just kind of, it's very ex machina. Just puts it, well, because this is, you don't understand this, I'm going to make it so this happens because of this. But there's no.
It's like a comic book story sort of thing. It's like DC, and it's like, now we'll bring in the multiverse, and it's like, huh? What?
It's like, huh?
Like, couldn't you just kept it simple?
Yeah, like I'm gonna try and make the story make sense in terms of Miss Peregrine's Home. How long are we running on time?
I reckon we've got about 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay. Like this, it's not an action film, but obviously it's got like fighting in it.
It sucks.
Yes. Okay, I know. I paid money to see
John
it.
Wick 2, go see John Wick 2.
But what happened? So what happens is that. Stop trying to plug it. Oh my god. So
I'm not even being paid.
Yeah, I know. Sponsor us.
Done.
So IMDb can sponsor us. Anyways, so what happens is Miss Peregrine is a Umbrian or whatever. Anyway, she can make pockets of time. So, like, for example, she can... You're already shaking your head. I know. So she can, for example, stop time, like, have a day that's, like, a perfect day. And then these kids who are peculiars live on that one day over and over again. At the end of every day, she reverts back.
The time never changes.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, like, if you leave...
There's somebody looking for them.
No. Well, that's all complicated and mishmash stuff. That's posh-nosh, as they say.
Is that basically just the story?
Kind of.
It gets disrupted and then they have to go...
No. So what happens is that the pockets of time are in these different places. What I didn't understand was that... So the main character, the protagonist, I have no idea what his name is because that's how irrelevant he is. He had to go into this cave, travel back in time to get into this pocket of time. But then the confusing thing is that, like, they try to get into other pockets, and then if you leave the pocket, you get sent back to another time. But then you see where I'm going with this, or more so that you don't understand what I'm talking about. I think
I just get to like half an hour into that film and just go, no, I don't care, and I just leave.
Well, the thing is, I can't do that. I have to understand. Like, that's the thing that pisses my partner off the most is that halfway through the film, if I don't understand anything, well, you know, which in some films they want to leave, they want to keep the mystery there. Yeah. They'll kind of hide things from you. So I'll be like, I have to know. So I'll Google it. And then he gets really angry. He's like, stop fucking Googling shit. Oh, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, I have to know. If I don't know, I'm going to lose my mind. That's just me, though. So
when I used to show my grandparents movies, my grandmother used to go, so what happens? Like halfway through the movie, I'm like, watch the movie. Yeah. That's why we're all here.
I want to know what the fuck happens.
Like, yeah, but what happens though?
You need to emotionally prepare myself, okay? I need to prepare my brain,
so you don't have to feel anything.
Yeah, I don't want to feel things for this dog that I didn't even know was going to die. Freaking Daisy, man.
Did you even know it was an action film?
No. I didn't. You told me it was an action film, but I was like thinking it was going to be...
So hang on, you thought there was going to be like a soul-searching movie about grief, and then at some point he's going to shoot a bunch of people.
No, I thought it was going to be a film about him, his wife. Well, I didn't know his wife was going to die, but his wife dying and him trying to escape his past or something like that.
Okay, so he's running away.
Yeah.
Not him.
Sorry, your cat just appeared. Why is he there?
This is a pain. Anyway.
Yeah, anyways, and I just heard him through your mic.
Yeah, most likely. He's a loud little turd. We might even wrap this up.
Yeah, I think...
Because I think we're
he's looking at you. I'm not even done telling you the story about Miss Peregrine.
Yeah, I know, but, you know, who wants to hear that?
Like, after that explanation, I think that's already enough.
I think the box office spoke. I don't even know whether it made money or not. I can't remember.
I mean, obviously it made money because Tim Burton, everyone loves Tim Burton.
Did it? Like
all the indie kids from high school loved. I don't know, but I remember, like, people were like...
Very sad people. Cat's trying to claw his way in.
I think he's like, that's enough, guys. It's enough.
It's enough. You've talked enough. I'm bored.
And
I want to come in. Okay. We will leave it there.
Next. Stop it.
He's scratching out the window.
Let's wrap it up really quickly. So next week we're going to be looking at the Pirates of the Caribbean
2 weeks' time
series.
We'll be looking at all of them.
Yes, we might also be starting up a after-hours show.
An in-between week thing.
Yeah, in-between week.
Will be done remotely.
We might do it live on Google Hangout. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
all for today.
Go see the movie because it's good. Yeah. And I'm going to strangle my cat. Bye.
Bye-bye.